Hello, hello, hello. Gang, subscribe to Smerconish.com, the daily newsletter. Turn on a friend. Like you hear me say that every day, but today's the day to do it. Forward the newsletter to a friend and say to them, you might enjoy this. Subscribe. It's free and it's worthy. Also, subscribe to this YouTube channel. PJ told me we just hit a milestone of 25,000 subscribers, which is really great because we started at 0. So ring the bell and you'll be notified when we're doing a YouTube live. Thank you to my friends at Parx Casino. This is how you win. It's all happening at Parx Casino and Sportsbook, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, the only casino and sportsbook that I recommend. Catch a show by top headliners. Oh, some new names coming to Parx that I can announce. Comedians Jay Moore and Daryl Hammond from SNL. I had told you about that previously. How about this? Singing legend Dionne Warwick. TC, do you know that Dionne Warwick eulogized the Geeter at his mass?
That's awesome.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Jerry Cantrell. I'm not acknowledging you in your ridiculous mask.
And yet you just did.
Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, Saturday on March 18. Clint Black on April 22nd. Tracy Morgan on May 12. Foreigner, Travis Tritt. To purchase tickets and find a complete list of all the headliners coming to the Excite Center, visit parxcasino.com. The sportsbook, this is how you win. Got to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. I want to talk about the president stumbling up the stairs to Air Force One. No, this is not Fox News. I'm not showing it to you on a loop. I may have made passing reference in the past to his difficulties in getting aboard Air Force One, but I want to talk about it. I'll tell you why I want to talk about it, because it's happened at least 4 times. It just happened again, which is why it's in the news. And given his age, unless a change is made, it's going to continue to happen. I mean, to watch him, he has difficulty with his gait, like most people who live to his age. And I'm sure it's such an embarrassment for him. It will be exploited by his political opponents, of which I am not one. But I want to ask a practical question. Is there a different way to get him aboard the flight? I mean, the media come in from the back, right? I mean, everybody virtually comes in from the back. Does that compound the problem? If there's a different, I'll tell you this, it's a 747. It is a gigundo aircraft. And consequently, if you're not entering a 747 the way we all do, which is from a bridge from the airport terminal, it is a steep ass set of stairs. So I'd like to spare him the embarrassment and difficulty of doing this in the future. The most recent came on Sunday in Montgomery, Alabama, 2 weeks after his last stumble in Poland. He was falling forward about halfway up the stairs on the plane when he was departing Poland after a surprise overseas trip. His health status, you'll remember, came into question after he was headed to California delivering a speech about the midterms, tripped on that. And then there was the viral one, which is sad and gets played all the time on Fox, March of 2021, when he fell 3 times going up the stairs. It is a huge plane. I took a look at the White House website on just Air Force One today. Inside, the president and his or her travel companions enjoy 4,000 square feet of floor space on 3 levels, including an extensive suite for the president that features a large office, lavatory, and conference room, a medical suite that can function as an operating room, a doctor's permanently on board. The plane has 2 food prep galleys that can feed 100 people at one time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a big plane, and he's having trouble boarding it. What do you think, TC? Do you think if we just tried to take the attention off, the arrival ceremonies?
I think that would be too much for his opponents if he changed where he was entering the plane. I think he should slow down and hold on to the railing.
But
he's trying to bound up the steps. You can't bound up the steps.
But obviously, he knows that, and still he can't accomplish it.
No, but you watch him. He's trying to bound, and he's not holding on. He's got to hold on. Got to. That's the solution. It
I
would
don't
be
know.
worse. It would be worse if he entered
That's
he
what I'm
can't
asking.
Yes, it would be worse.
It would be worse.
Yes.
It would be worse.
Yes.
Okay, how about this? Let's say that he's reelected.
Yes.
Let's say that he is reelected.
Yes.
Now what? Do you feel differently?
Absolutely not. Slow down. I don't want him to hurt himself.
If he falls another time, are you going to have the same opinion?
He won't fall if he slows down and holds on to the railing.
I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure of that.
Let's see. I think that solves it. Think about what you would tell someone you love that's in that position. Okay.
Well, how about this? How about if he wins?
Uncle Michael, slow down and hold on to the railing.
No, but after I said slow down and hold on to the railing, which of course he knows and Jill has told him, at a certain point, don't you intervene if it were a loved one and say, hey, you know what? We're going to take the cart through the airport.
Of course. But we're not at that point yet. He's able to walk.
How about if after he's elected, then screw his opponents, who cares what they say, let him go in the back of the plane.
Well, let's see how he does holding on and going slow.
He is holding on and going slow.
He's not. He's trying to bound up the steps. He trips because he's not holding on. I
don't know. I don't think it's that simple. I don't want him to be embarrassed. I want him to look good, and I want him to feel strong.
Yeah.
He's better than 99% of people who are 80 years old.
Yeah.
And I think that some will look at it as a reflection of, and TC, if he's out on the campaign trail, and I don't think that he'll be aggressively campaigning. I think it's going to be a very Oval Office, Rose Garden strategy, where he won't leave the White House because he's doing his job. It'll be like Delaware in 2020.
But can't you see him trying to bound up steps of a stage? Yeah,
that's a problem too.
I know.
No, but I'm just saying that the normal campaign. You think about Trump. You think about Trump in the final days of the 2020 campaign, flying,
right.
rally, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Biden's not going to do that.
Right.
But he will have to fly more.
Right.
And that means more times he's got to get up those big ass stairs.
Right.
Okay, just going to raise this, then we'll move on. What about one of those seats?
Okay, now you're just being ridiculous. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
Oh my God. All right, you're done. No.
Why?
It would be better to be...
Because of the perception?
Absolutely. Come on, you're an advanced man. You don't have to ask that question.
This advanced...
Bringing it up is just as bad as
I should hide it. I should hide it.
That is a ridiculous suggestion, and you know it. What are you doing? He's rummaging through the trash. Good.
Good news about John Fetterman.
Excellent. Yes.
Top aide says he just visited with him at Walter Reed, and Fetterman is doing well, and he will soon return to his senatorial duties. So there's that.
Yep.
Poll results yesterday from Smerconish.com.
Your voice sounds a little muffled. I think you need one like mine. I also think your glasses are fogging up. What is wrong with you?
Why are you wearing that goofy mask?
Because the studio still...
You're welcome. I cleaned the studio today.
You cleaned the studio.
You're welcome.
With bacteria.
With Fabulosa.
And
it smells Fabulosa.
It smells disgusting. I walked off the elevator and not even into our suite.
Oh my God, your theatrics. Please.
Not even I'm the least dramatic person you know. This is ridiculous. I walked off the elevator and I was immediately assaulted by the nastiest, most chemical, disgusting smell I've ever smelled in my life. And I was like, did someone spill some cleaning product?
I love it.
I
love it.
So gross.
It smells fabuloso.
It smells awful in here. And it was a recalled product, and you just sprayed bacteria all over the studio. And it is.
You don't know that.
It is wretched.
You don't
and
know
I
that
will
to be
be
the
leaving
case.
the window open when I leave today. It's so gross.
Ladies and gentlemen, poll results yesterday from Smerconish.com, the daily newsletter.
What's wrong with you?
You don't like the smell.
It is foul.
Have you never noticed the smell in my car? I've driven you in my car.
Foul. No, I've never noticed the smell in my car, in your car, ever.
I just squirt a little on the mats because it keeps it, vibrant and clean.
It is literally, I am not kidding. My head aches. I've tried to call HR. No one answers.
You are such a complainer.
But I'm not. But that's
You're such a complainer.
The issue for you is that I am not. I never complain. This is literally disgusting.
Can I get back to the show now?
You can.
Yesterday, 22,142 votes were cast. Thank you very much. How has Pete Buttigieg's tenure as Secretary of Transportation impacted your likelihood of supporting him for president in the future? 43% said no impact, and I believe them. 34% says it's increased, and I disbelieve them. Come on. You can say to me that the issues, the transportation, the planes, trains, and automobile issues that have occurred on Secretary Pete's watch are not of his doing, and I would agree with that. But you've had an opportunity to see him in crisis mode, and you're telling me you have an enhanced or better or increased favorability of him? I doubt it. Decreased 22%, I do believe them. Where should Walgreens sell abortion pills? Walgreens is getting the brunt of this, but there are other providers in a similar place. Blue states only? Red states only? All states? No states. TC, what's the deal? Is this the so-called morning after pill?
No, it is not. Okay, so here's the deal.
Yeah.
I am not a doctor.
Right. You so just play one on radio?
I'm just going to be as...
You were raised by two doctors. You must know something.
I was raised by two doctors, but they're not this kind of doctor. But here's the bottom line. The morning after pill is a pill that you take as soon after unprotected sex as you can. And the idea of the morning after pill, or Plan B, is that it prevents conception. It's something you take before conception. It doesn't end a pregnancy. It prevents a pregnancy. The abortion pill is actually two pills. It's a set of two that you take. You have to have an ultrasound first. It's within the first 10 weeks of pregnancy, and it ends a pregnancy. It is an abortion. It ends a pregnancy. It does not prevent it.
Tell me again, what's the latest you can take it?
They say 8 weeks is sort of like that's the most, best efficacy, but up to 10.
Got it.
All right, so that's the difference between the morning after pill and the so-called abortion pill.
Big controversy. Walgreens bearing the brunt of it. That's the poll question. Go vote at Smerconish.com. More headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. The brother you hadn't heard about, Randy Murdaugh, the older brother of Alex, who doesn't know if Alex is a murderer. He knows he's a liar and he knows he's a thief, and he wasn't in that courtroom. Interestingly, this is a New York Times profile that I linked to today at Smerconish.com. When Alex Murdaugh was being cross-examined, his brother Randy was in court down the road in some very routine proceeding. Just an example of, the ripple effects of these horrific murders. In the first interview a family member has given since the trial, Randy Murdaugh said he had no doubt that his brother was a serial liar and a thief. He said he also believed that Alex had not told the truth about what he knew about the killings, but asked directly whether he thought his brother carried out the murders. He still said he didn't know. As a lawyer, he said he respects the jury's verdict, but he finds it impossible to picture Alex, a man he's known for decades, as a protective husband and father, pulling the trigger and inflicting the carnage that prosecutors describe as a crime of cold calculation. TC, I don't know if R.L. Stine of Goosebumps fame is or is not editing books to make them more inclusive, because when I flagged the story, it said that he was.
When you flagged the story, it said that he was, and
From
very
Deadline.
very specifically said that he was doing it himself. The update on the story is that he says he's not doing it himself. It's being done, evidently, but he hasn't seen any of the edits, so unclear, well, pretty clear from him what he says, but not sure where that disconnect was.
This comes after the editing of, how's the pronunciation of this? Roald the Dahl books, D-A-H-L.
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl.
Yeah.
Should I go back and edit my columns?
Well, you kind of did, didn't you?
Well, no.
Interestingly, you reacted to them.
I didn't
kinda like
change
that.
them.
Yeah, but I like that.
Remember now, in my book, Clowns to the Left of Me, Jokers to the Right, American Life in Columns, which was my seventh and most recent book, maybe my final book, I was a newspaper columnist for 15 years. So I went back and I flagged 100 columns that I thought were worthy of comment, worthy of revisiting. Some because I liked them and I wanted to brag about them and I thought that I was prescient, and others because I was embarrassed about them and I wanted to provide an update of some type. There were a lot of columns in the, I forgot the number, 1,000 and something.
Something. Like
Damn it, how could I forget that number?
Or 1,008 or something.
There were plenty that I came upon that I was embarrassed about. Some that I put in the book and some that I didn't. But can I go back now? Because I could find them online and rewrite them? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right that I would go back and like try and erase history. They were my opinion at the time.
I think you have to make a note of it. I also think opinion columns are different from books. I mean, I'm not sure books should be changed at all, but if they're being sold now, maybe in order to make them palatable to today's audience, you have to. Isn't that the idea?
I don't know what you're saying. You're also muffled. How about this? Dr. David...
I'm trying to protect myself. My head is spinning.
How about this? Dr. David Agus was to have been my guest here yesterday. Brand new book, The Book of Animal Secrets, Nature's Lessons for a Long and Happy Life. Dr. Agus is a USC oncologist, noteworthy, reputable, well-known media figure. Howard loves him and relies on him for his medical advice. That's how I first learned of Dr. Agus. He's been a guest here before.
Sure.
But we received a note. When did that note come? Friday?
It came Saturday. 10:45 a.m. Would you like me to read it?
Yeah.
So it said, TC, I apologize for the late notice, but I have to cancel the interview with Dr. Agus next week. We've become aware of a problem with the book and think it advisable to hold off on his media appearances until we have a complete understanding of the situation. I'll be happy to reconnect at the appropriate time to reschedule if that's of interest. But for now, the interview next week is canceled.
And
apologies again for the last-minute wrinkle.
You sent it to me, and I said, boy, that's really unusual.
You said odd.
Very odd.
Very odd.
Well, now we know what the deal is.
Now we know.
The LA Times, it's published today, linked at Smerconish.com. A Times investigation found at least 95 separate passages in the book that resemble, sometimes word for word, text that originally appeared in other published sources available on the internet. The passages are not credited or acknowledged in the book or its endnotes. Endnotes, quite an embarrassing chapter, pun intended, on that. Okay, maybe my favorite story at Smerconish.com today. Headline from MSN, reporters hid tracking devices in shoes that were supposed to be recycled. They ended up in a market in Indonesia instead. Reuters tracked 11 pair of donated shoes to a recycling program launched by Dow and Singapore. Most of them landed in markets or remote areas in Indonesia, which banned used apparel imports in 2015. Yada, yada, yada. Reminds me to check in. Let me do this live and in real time right now.
Let's see.
Whoops. Let's see.
Oh, boy.
Got to go to Find My. Now I shall go to Items. All right. I'm going to click on it. Last seen December 12, 2022 at 2:51 p.m. Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing. I put I put in my recycling one of my Apple AirTags, and I was excited because for a couple of days I was able to see the movement of my recycling. I was hoping that, my recycling was going to end up in Singapore or Indonesia. And yet it ended up instead in Birdsboro, Pennsylvania.
Not right.
Yeah, about 41 miles from where I'm located now. So it went from the local dump, in my township to this dump. Now, TC, maybe I'll next hear of it in Singapore or Indonesia.
Checking.
I don't know.
Keep checking.
I don't know, but I have no other update in that regard. In 2021, the U.S. chemical company Dow and Singapore's government promised to transform the rubber from old shoes into playground and running track surfaces. That's not what happened to 11 pair of sneakers in which a team of Reuters reporters hid tracking devices. After dropping the shoes in the program's recycling bins across Singapore, Reuters traced most of the shoes to secondhand markets or remote locations in Indonesia. Gang, reminder that every day from the program, something that we really like becomes the podcast of the day. Yes, I have a daily podcast. TC After Dark is not the only podcast associated with the program. And because I'm thinking of Ginny Romedy, guest on today's program, the first chair and CEO female of IBM. That'll be released as a book club podcast. And my book club podcast selections, Dr. Agus, I know is one of my book club podcast selections. Really great for a walk. So take a look. Several hundred authors, so many of them household names that I've had the privilege of speaking to, comprise my book club podcast. Okay? A lot of promotion. TC After Dark, my daily podcast, the book club podcast, Smerch merch. Is Harry going to go to the wedding? We don't know. Free Harry. Wear the T-shirt.
Free TC. Get me out of here.
If CNN sends me to London, I promise to wear my Free Harry T-shirt underneath my Oxford cloth.
Don't say that too loud.
And to disrobe during the course of the broadcast.
You just guaranteed you're not gonna get invited.
Thank you, gang, for listening, and thank you for watching on YouTube. See you tomorrow.